Recording. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today. I see many of the familiar names in the list, but there are quite a few who I think might have registered for the first time for our any of our admission insight sessions. So I just like to take this opportunity to briefly introduce myself and our organization, the Dream Catchers. So my name is Surbhi Kumar, and I am the founder of the Dream Catchers, and I am the chief consultant as well. About the Dream Catchers, we are an education consulting firm, and we are based out of Mumbai. Our core mission is to assist students in realizing their dream of obtaining quality and best fit education. And obviously, you would wonder that how do we do that? So if we talk about the process per se, for grade 8, ninth, and grade 10 students, their immediate need becomes like choosing the right subject combination, or kind of choosing the right stream, because many of the national boards as of now still have like stream bifurcations, though with the new education policy things are changing as well, but that becomes an immediate need for grade 9th 10th students particularly. And for grade 11th and 12th, it switches to shortlisting the courses and even colleges as well. Okay, so specifically for the grade 9th 10th and grade 8 student, what we generally recommend or start with in terms of process is a psychometric assessment test. And for those of you who are not kind of familiar with what a psychometric assessment test is, it's a standardized test wherein when the student appears for that test, they have to answer a few questions, and there is a timer which is running, and the output of that assessment is a report which gives insights into the aptitude, the work interest area of the student, and even the unique personality traits. Now, you just have to keep in mind that this is a quantitative report. Okay, so this becomes a starting point for the entire career guidance process per se. With the report, on the basis of this aptitude, personality, and work interest, a career fitment or top 10 career clusters which are best aligned to the student are recommended. And I'm saying those are recommended, and that is again our starting point, because utilizing that, we get into the career research and career discovery exercise with the student, and it involves multiple career guidance session, including the family as well, wherever it is needed. And at the end of the day, what we have seen that it results in student making an informed choice around their subject selection, around their stream selection, and even to an extent course selection as well. And wherever there is a need, we come up with a detailed action plan, and even giving more insights into the educational and career pathways. Okay, so that was primarily around the grade 8th to 12th services, which revolve around stream and subject selection and course and college selection. But we also provide our services in the higher education and admission guidance space, wherein we help the student to prepare well in terms of the Indian new age universities, as well as others too, plus overseas as well, including undergrad and postgrad. Now, that spectrum includes a lot of services. When we talk about undergrad students, specifically if they are targeting, say, countries where holistic admission process is considered, we help in the profile assessment, discovery, and elevation, keeping in mind the students' natural strengths and certain areas which they should focus more on. Now, when it comes to study abroad or overseas, country and course shortlisting also becomes an important component of entire, decision making as such. We help them with the best fit college mapping. We help them in terms of guiding to write a, you know, compelling statement of purpose or personal statement, and even answering few essay prompts, right? And wherever there is a need, some kind of guidance, if it is needed by the recommenders, we do provide the letter of recommendation guidance as well. We guide them in terms of scholarship. Wherever the application process includes an interview, we help them for that, like preparing for that by conducting mock interviews and helping them with do's and don'ts and making them more confident when they appear before the admission officers. Uh, Many a times, definitely, visa is always an important part of the process when you apply abroad, and we also provide guidance there. So I hope this would help to an extent for the newer folks who have joined our admission insight session for the first time, that what we do and how we serve our student community. With that, as you have gathered here for New Zealand Undergraduate Admission Insights webinar spotlighting the University of Auckland. So I would actually want to start with a short quiz just to see uh, what is the awareness level of our audience here when it comes to New Zealand. So you'll see a quiz on your screen right now. I hope you can see it, and you can respond via the chat box or Q&A box. I would be the one who would be receiving it. And yeah, I've already started receiving few responses. So thank you for that. So I'll read it out. New Zealand issues post-study work permit to international students. What do you think? Is it true? Is it false? Okay. Okay. So I would say 10% of our audience, they are pretty aware that yes, they do issue the post-study work permit. But what I would want to highlight is the number of years. So just so that you know, it's up to 3 years. And Nisha, who is our guest speaker of the day, I think during the fireside chat, she may bring up more aspects around it, but it is not 1 year, not 2 years, but up to 3 years. So that's an important one. Now, moving on, I always try to emphasize some of the important aspects of a country, historical aspects, because I think that speaks a lot about the country per se. So, I don't know how many of you really know, but New Zealand is a country which actually pioneered women's right in terms of right to vote way back in 1893. So that is something which is a sign of a progressive country. And if you study uh, New Zealand as a country and their journey closely, you will get more such examples, which really, really emphasizes the fact that it is a very, very progressive nation. Okay. With that, let me take this opportunity to briefly introduce the University of Auckland and Nisha. So, Nisha, good morning. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Surbi, and thank you so much for organizing this session. I am so glad you are being active in this space and letting students know about the options that are available for them to choose when they are considering their study abroad options. Of course, thanks to technology and high awareness level in today's time, it's all the more important for students to know what exactly is available on the platter, and of course, they can pick up the right ones as per their career plans and whatever they have thought about for themselves in the future. So I'm really thankful to you for taking up this initiative. Yeah, please carry on.
Absolutely. So pleasure is all ours. I think it is very important in today's age and era that they get the authentic insights like straight from the horse's mouth. So why not invite folks like you who can really provide the correct information? So just to tell you our audience, Nisha is the regional recruitment advisor, South Asia for the University of Auckland, and she is our go-to person as well if you want to understand anything related to New Zealand per se as a study destination, and even specifically the University of Auckland. Though there are a lot of things to mention about University of Auckland, and I have highlighted a few already, which you can see on the screen. But during the course of the fireside chat conversation, you will get to hear from Nisha more about it. And I would like to remind, especially like again, the folks who are joining us for the first time, I know, like as I said, I see a lot of familiar names. So you know the format of our admission insight session. So you're more than welcome to pose any questions to Nisha. You can just raise your hand, and I can really enable your settings to ask the question directly, or you can send the question to me. I can ask it on your behalf. I can embed it in my fireside chat questions itself. But I'm more than confident that the questions which I have curated based on the experience of interacting with a lot of families, I think it will cover a lot. But still, feel free to ask any questions if you have. With that, and without delaying it any further, I'll start with my first question for you, Nisha, which is just help our audience understand that why, as a student, they should be considering New Zealand as their study destination. What are the advantages specifically for Indian students? If you can highlight that, that would be really helpful.
So that's, I think, the best way to start this conversation, because when they're considering their options abroad, they need to know that why New Zealand? I mean, forget what the universities are, what all they're offering, but why I should consider New Zealand as a destination. So, very valid question to set the pace. So, I would say New Zealand has been primarily known for its stunning landscapes or diverse ecosystems, vibrant culture, or even warm and friendly people and excellent quality of life. However, I believe there is more to it. New Zealand is a fantastic destination for international students because they are offering a world class education system. There are about 8 universities in New Zealand, and all of these institutions adhere to global standards, regularly tested and even monitored by the government to ensure a consistently high level of education. And in fact, all of these 8 universities are ranked in the top 3% in the entire world. Our qualifications are globally recognized and equip you well with the real world skills that will eventually prepare you for the future. So I would say it is a classic recipe to build your career.
Absolutely. And I would also want to add one more thing on the basis of what I've heard from the students who are studying in New Zealand. I have heard that it's a very, very safe country, because that's also a concern, mainly with the parents who are kind of sending their young adults, like for undergrad education, right? So sometimes they think that they're too young, and what is the safety aspect of that country. So that's what I have heard from a lot of students. So what do you say to that,
Absolutely,
Nisha?
absolutely. One of the safest countries in the world, Surbi, so very well highlighted. And students, I mean, the parents can be very well assured that they are sending their kids to a very peace-loving country where student safety is a primary, I would say, concern for universities as well, because we consider this as as our responsibility, I would say. So this is something that we really take care of. So you can be assured that you are sending your child to a very safe place.
It's a great assurance, and I've already started receiving few questions. So, Rohit, I will be covering this question around international rules for international students. So, we'll be talking about that, and I'll try to really embed your question there too. So, just be patient. Maybe like 8 questions down the line, I'll be covering that. Okay, so let me move on to the next question, which is like, just give us the overview of the University of Auckland from your standpoint, Nisha.
Absolutely, I would love to. So this university, University of Auckland, has been founded in 1883. So you can imagine it's almost 141 years old, or I would say 140 years young. So the University of Auckland is ranked 65th in the world in the 2025 QX rankings. And we are the only university in New Zealand to feature in the top 100 universities of the world. So basically, world rankings reflect the university's commitment to academic excellence and innovation. Therefore, when students are considering education options in New Zealand, it's quite helpful to know that a degree from a top ranked university like ours has international relevance, no matter where students decide to make their future. So students can be quite assured that they are receiving a world-class education that is preparing them for success in an ever-changing environment. We are highly research oriented. So whatever research happens in entire New Zealand, I would say 33% of it happens at the University of Auckland. In
Wow,
terms of,
amazing.
yeah, this is actually a very interesting fact for students to consider. And in terms of our commitment towards sustainability, we are ranked the fifth most sustainable universities in the world as per QS, and of course, number one in New Zealand. One of the
Excellent.
QS International Student Service, Surbhi, I would like to highlight that was conducted a couple of months ago. It actually provided a fresh evidence of the role that sustainability initiatives play in students' decision making. And
Mhm.
no surprise, 4 in 10 students actively look for information about the environmental sustainability initiatives of the institutions that they are eventually considering. And
Mhm.
it gives me immense pride to share that the University of Auckland has been appointed as the official hub by the United Nations for Sustainability Development Goal 4, that is quality education. So this just only makes it evident that what kind of focus we have towards providing quality education to all our students and ensuring that they are work ready upon graduating.
Excellent. So I think these are amazing points, and some of those I was aware of, but not all, especially the sustainability one. And I would say, yeah, quality of education definitely is paramount. And what I have seen in my conversation with the students these days, they are very, very conscious about all the aspects of sustainability, right? So
Absolutely.
during their college shortlisting as well, that is also a factor which is coming up as well. So thanks for
Correct, correct.
highlighting that.
And recently, Surbhi, we had organized a competition for school students. The topic was about some of the sustainability development goals. We had shared a challenge and we advised the student to prepare a business plan. And you won't believe what kind of amazing plans students came up with. And it was all set, it was all ready to be put into practice. If it was a startup, I'm sure these kids would have literally been on some kind of world map. They were so
Wow.
excellent. And we were just surprised as to what kind of talent is hidden in these bright young minds.
Absolutely. I think they just need to be channelized in the right direction, and which is what like a good university like University of Auckland plays an important role as well, right? So
Absolutely.
great. I think with that, we can move on to the next question, which is more around the intakes which the university offer for undergraduate students, and what are the corresponding, timelines when it comes to applications and they receiving offers as well. And why I particularly ask these questions, because many of the students who are thinking of studying abroad, right? They keep multiple destinations in mind, and it becomes very important that they know that for which destination, which college, what are the timelines, so that they don't really forget about it if it is something which they are planning, in their it's in their consideration set.
Absolutely. So well said. It's more like a problem of plenty now because there's just so much available on the platter for them to pick up. And if I talk
No.
about New Zealand's perspective, I would say most of the universities in New Zealand have Feb and July intakes for their UG programs, though there may be a few programs that have only, for example, one intake in a year. So the applications usually open up about 12 to 15 months prior. It is very well advisable to apply well in advance, as planning for education overseas requires additional preparation in terms of maybe first applying, then securing the offer, applying for scholarships, arranging funds, and then eventually applying for the visa as well. And also, I would recommend that students should check the individual universities' websites for accurate information, as the guidelines could differ with each provider per se. Yeah.
So specifically, now for University of Auckland, July intake. When does the cycle really closes, or is it more like a rolling admission? How is that?
Okay, so if you talk about this July 2025 intake, the applications have been already open pretty much for a long time now. And
Yeah.
students who are vying for this particular intake, in case you have not yet applied, you can still apply, upload all the relevant documents that you have, including the predicted score sheet and English proficiency. In case you would be found suitable as per the initial assessment, you may be issued a conditional or unconditional offer depending upon how strong your overall profile is. I would recommend not to apply very late because there are, as I mentioned, multiple steps involved. So earlier you apply, better it will be for you to have some peace of mind at the end of the entire process.
Great. Thank you so
Also, otherwise
much.
you will even miss out on the scholarship application.
Yeah, that is an important one. And I think we'll try to cover around scholarship information in
Yes, for
further
sure.
questions
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Also, Nisha, as a follow-up, like just if you can talk about the general admission process specifically for international students. What I mean is to combine it even with my next question, which could come up even from the audience as well. How does the admission officers they really look at the entire application file of a student, particularly?
Okay, so I'll cover both the general admissions process as well as how maybe our admissions team evaluates the international applications, as you have just mentioned. So I would say our application process depends on the program that the student is going for. At University of Auckland, most of the UG programs require only the academic and English proficiency. However, there are a few specialized programs, I would say, such as maybe a bachelor's of nursing that has an additional requirement for the interview, whereas programs in education or teaching, it requires students to go through an interview, literacy and numeracy assessment, as well as some referee reports. And
Okay.
also programs such as maybe architecture and dance and music, they necessarily require students to provide a creative portfolio and audition portfolio respectively. In case you ask me how early should you apply, I would say sooner the better, so that students can avoid any last minute stress. And in terms of how the University of Auckland evaluates the international applications, so I would say, as I've been stressing a lot on quality education so far in my discussion, therefore, I would say admissions team is also primarily looking for good quality applications, which means your year 12 performance plays a crucial role to help you get in. Apart from having a higher probability of being accepted into the program, your
Mm-hmm.
academic strength also helps you to compete for the scholarships, as you will also understand in my future, I mean, the upcoming questions as well, that most of our scholarships are merit based. So your academic strength is very, very important for not just the admission, but also for helping you grab a scholarship as well.
Great. Thank you so much for that insight, Nisha. Especially like academic is something which plays the most important role when it comes to admissions at the University of Auckland. What I would also want to understand is because many of the students, even for like new age Indian colleges and even for other countries, obviously for US as well, they are sitting for certain standardized tests like SAT and ACT. So if the student has given it, right, would that be considered in terms of evaluating a student's academic strength, or is it not at all considered?
Okay, so if I talk about especially University of Auckland, we don't really need this course. However, a few of our medicine programs will require students to appear for the University Clinical Aptitude Test for Australia and New Zealand, which is also popularly known as UCAT ANZ. So that's what we
Okay.
would be looking at. Otherwise, for rest of the programs, as I've just highlighted, is more of academic and English proficiency and some additional requirements for few of the specialized programs. So nothing apart from that.
Understood. So, one thing which would also help in terms of English proficiency, is it like always required, or are there certain scenarios where a student can get a waiver as well?
Okay. So waivers are, I would say, possible on a case-to-case basis if the students have scored really well in their Year 12 English. Though it is advisable that students should sit for either of the English proficiency exams, we accept IELTS, TOEFL, and PTE. So there's an entire suite of options available that they can pick up from.
Okay, okay, got it. And when we talk about students from India, definitely there are national boards like CBSE, ISC, and state boards, plethora of those, and even students from international boards like Cambridge or IB. How are the admission requirements varying there? Is it like significantly varying, or is it in the similar line per se? Any insights in that?
Okay, so that's an very important question, I would say, Surbi. So the requirements are pretty much similar and equally competitive, irrespective of the board that you're coming from. Some of the medicine or engineering related programs will expect that you should have an adequate combination of maths or physics, or even physics, chemistry, biology with certain minimum score or maybe certain level in IB, but
Okay.
nothing substantially different for any of the boards. It's
Okay.
equally competitive.
Got it. Got it. So I have received two more questions. And yeah, so Soumya, I am actually going to ask about tuition fees as well. So maybe, yeah, let's talk about that itself. So could you outline the tuition fees and any other expenses that kind of make up the total cost of attendance for a student? And the specific question from Soumya is tuition fees and how expensive it is in terms of accommodation. So I think it's pretty much the same thing.
Okay. So Soumya and rest of the students, our average tuition fee ranges between say 40 to 50,000 New Zealand dollar per annum, while the costing for a medicine program could be a bit higher. Additionally, Immigration New Zealand has set up a minimum requirement, a minimum benchmark for 20,000 New Zealand dollar as your living expense for a year. Though in practical way, I would say it all depends on an individual's personal lifestyle that they wish to maintain. So that's the minimum that you need to be prepared with. However, what kind of personal living standard you have and what kind of choices you would like to make while being an international student. For example, you could stay at a shared accommodation instead of staying at a single occupancy apartment or something. So that's how you save individual costing. And also, for example, our university has a subsidized departmental store for their students, so you could end up buying your grocery and other stuff from there just to save on some bits and pieces of additional expense here and there, I would say. So that's how when you join the university, you figure out things, how it all works, where to shop, where not to shop, what to buy, what not to buy. And when you meet your seniors as well, you'll be in a position to make a budget for yourself and plan your expenses well. So it's not a rocket science, but with time you'll be able to figure out how to eventually save and be a smart shopper.
True. I have received an interesting question from Tirath. I am considering both Australia and New Zealand. So, can you let me understand what kind of courses slash study options does the University of Auckland stands out compared to Australian universities?
Okay, so let me be very clear that I personally believe each country and each university has something excellent to offer. So we just have to identify what that best fit is. See, eventually, as I always tell to all prospective students that I come across, that nobody knows you better than you know yourself. So you first have to identify your strengths, see what your career plans are, which country or which university is offering that particular kind of program, and also whether that XYZ country that I am targeting, does it have relevant job options for me once I complete the program? Are there any suitable openings that I would like to go with? How I can grow further in my career? How I can develop my expertise? So once you have those questions and answers in place after a due diligent research, you will be in a position to have an answer to this question, that which country is offering you the best possible option. And always remember, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So please make use of this opportunity as well as possible, and use these years well. 3 years or 4 years will typically fly like a breeze. You won't even realize, because you will be juggling between so many things. But you have to be at peace with what you're going for, how you are going to use and channelize all the possibilities and opportunities that are being offered to you by a XYZ country and the university. Once you have all that in place, you will have an answer to your question. So I would not like to give you a served answer on a platter that, okay, go for this or go for that, because that would be unfair on my part. So you have to do that research. Both Australia and New Zealand and even rest of the countries have amazing things for their international community. You have to find the right fit.
Thank you so much for that answer, Nisha. And Tirath, it's a very, very difficult question to answer without knowing you, knowing your profile, and as Nisha highlighted, what are you thinking in terms of your medium to long term goals, right? It's an entire broad exercise. A generic answer will not really help, right? It really depends upon the kind of university from which you have an offer and XYZ factors as well. So, but yeah, thanks for sharing your insights there, Nisha. With that, let me move to the next question, which is around scholarships. So, just if you can help the students here with the kind of scholarships which the University of Auckland offers, and again, how best they can present themselves to grab the scholarship, and again from an Indian cohort standpoint.
Yeah, I can imagine, Surbi, this could be a very important factor for a lot of our prospective students here in this room who are looking for their study overseas options. So, at the University of Auckland, we have two very exciting scholarships. One of those options is specifically for our Indian students only, catered around for Indian candidates. That's known as India High Achiever Scholarship. And the
Okay.
other one is International Students Excellence Scholarship, with an award value of 20,000 and $10,000 respectively. So you can see India High Achiever Scholarship has a huge award value of $20,000. And it's a one time scholarship. And in order to apply for any of these scholarships with us, students should have academic excellence, yes, and they also should be able to provide an SOP that should talk about their substantial achievements in their careers so far. They could talk about, okay, whatever they have done, any specific achievements to highlight, something substantial that they must have done that could justify, or rather fairly justify, their candidature to deserve a scholarship. Because we know, when we announce a scholarship, there are like hundreds of applicants fighting for those few spots. So what additional are you bringing on the table that makes you a suitable candidate to be awarded with a scholarship? So as long as you can justify that, you should be a good fit.
Great. A follow-up question on that from my side, Nisha. Is it like, are there number of or count kind of reserved for these uh, India and international scholarship, or is it something which is slightly flexible? If it is like there is a limited pool, limited count, what exactly is that?
Okay, so if I talk about the India High Achiever Scholarship, each for each intake, we may have about 15 to 20 spots for students from India, irrespective of UG or PG. So that's
Okay.
the count for India High Achiever Scholarship, and similarly for International Students Excellence as well. However, that may have a limited probability because it invites applications from the entire world and not just from India. So India High
Understood.
Ticket Scholarship definitely has a higher probability, if I say practically.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so I think with that, let's try to get some insights even in terms of the student life at University of Auckland, if you can touch upon that, and together with, or maybe like that one, and then maybe there is other question which is kind of associated with that, but I'll take it next.
Okay, so I would personally love this aspect of talking about student life and the kind of experience that students have at the kind of university. So, our campus sits in the heart of New Zealand's largest and most culturally vibrant and economically significant city, that is Auckland. And as a city,
Mm-hmm.
Auckland is one of the most livable cities in the world. You talk about factors such as stability, healthcare, culture, education, infrastructure. It has the best of all. So,
True.
typically speaking, this city is more like Delhi, Mumbai of India, always buzzing. And this also means that there's access to more job opportunities. And as far as facilities and support is concerned, so we do have a number of specialist libraries, online and offline workshops to improve your skills, large number of exciting study spaces, vibrant communities. There are a range of tools and information to care for your physical, emotional, and even spiritual well-being, so that you can thrive during your time at the university. We have a dedicated campus care team that works with students to better understand their needs and concerns. And prior to the class commencement, the international office arranges a diverse orientation program to welcome the international students and give them all necessary information that they need about the university and even about living in Auckland. So, and yes, we do have on campus accommodation also that provides a very safe and comfortable and supportive environment. In it could be a fully catered, self catered, or even a partially catered residence. So, you can pick and choose the one that you believe is the right fit for you.
Okay. Understood. Now, as a part of student life, and especially it becomes very important when we talk about study abroad or international destinations, because cost of attendance is fairly high, and students generally they get into working together with attending college, right? And definitely one way is to earn some pocket money there, or to sponsor some of their living expenses on their own. And the other thing is the kind of skills they would learn through those small work engagements as well. So what is, in terms of rules and regulations, what is the regulation there, and how are students like really able to manage both academics and the part-time work opportunities, if that is something which New Zealand permits?
Extremely crucial question. So, thank you for picking this up. Yes, international students can work part time for 20 hours per week, and even they can work full time during scheduled study breaks. Minimum
Okay.
wage as of now is 23.15 New Zealand dollar per hour. At
Okay.
times, students are able to grab some jobs at the campus, while it is equally exciting, I would say, to work outside as well. Yes, I
Okay.
understand when these young students move to a new world, it's going to be a 360-degree change. And
Mm.
initially, it may be quite overwhelming to manage between various things all at once. It's more like a juggle. But I would say it's a happy juggle. And the key is to keep it slow, and students should not be in a hurry to start working immediately. It is
Mm.
quite better to first develop a comfort with their regular schedule, managing academics, tutorials, and even, of course, they need some time to explore the city as well. It's a new world altogether, so they need
Mhm.
some me time as well. So once they feel confident enough, only then I would recommend they should start getting into part-time roles. Moreover,
Okay.
as you just mentioned, I also agree to that, that the idea here should not be to only earn some additional pocket money. Of course, it helps. It's more like a cherry on the cake, I would say. but the ideal agenda should be to get maximum exposure and develop a sensible understanding of the job market as well.
True, true, understood. And just an extension of this question and your response, do they also get within campus? When I say within campus, particularly like something like a research assistantship or so within the university by professors, is that an option available? How easy or difficult it is for the student to get it?
As far as my understanding goes, Surbi, I would say these roles are more suited for a bit mature professionals. So,
Okay.
master students would be more ideally suitable for such roles. However,
Okay.
as far as finding the options on the campus are concerned, so yes, there are options available. So, students just have to keep their eyes and ears open and be with our career support team as well to
Mm.
have a better understanding about what kind of roles are available and how they can customize themselves to be a better fit for any position that they might be aspiring for. So it's a combination of various factors, I would say.
Understood. Okay. Now let's move on to the life after graduating from the university, right? And that's where I'll take Rohit's earlier question as well. But let me first start with my question. So, what are the career prospects for international students who graduate from the University of Auckland? And does the university provide career services or internships to help students enter the job market, right? So that's the role of, what's the role of University of Auckland there? And his question, which is around again the regulatory aspect, which I am also supposed to kind of cover, which is around the post study work permit, which we initially touched upon.
Okay, so I'll elaborate about both the support services that are provided by us and even in terms of post-study work visa guidelines, etc. So, to your first question, big yes. University of Auckland is New Zealand's leading university for graduate employability. With
Mhm.
our qualification, you will be the first on the employer's list as well. We make students learn in very real industry settings. For example, students use labs, studios, workspaces that are just like real industry settings. We have a dedicated career services team known as CDES, that is Career Development and Employability Services. And quick tip, I would recommend all the students who are looking at University of Auckland to please follow CDES on LinkedIn or Instagram or whichever social media channel you use. We
Okay.
organize multiple career specific events around the year, such as career expos, recruitment events, networking opportunities, workshops, etc. Such events not only help you improve your networking and relationship building skills, it also assists you to connect with experienced professionals and alumni in your space. So I would
Mhm.
recommend that even in the first few years when you cannot apply for a full time job, but you should attend these events to understand that what kind of expectations the prospective employers have, how the job market functions, and how you can customize yourself so that once you are ready to apply, you will be able to present yourself in the most appropriate way, wherein the employers will be keen to hire you. And as an extension to what CDES does, you can continue to seek help from career development and employability services team up to 3 years after graduation. So this support is not only limited to the academic duration, but it goes beyond those academic years as well for the next 3 years once you complete your graduation. Now, coming to the post study work visa opportunities. So, yes, New Zealand has a very progressive and a generous work rights policy. Eligible international students who wish to gain relevant work experience and skills can work in New Zealand for up to 3 years on a post study work visa after completing their program. So, this will allow you to work with a company in New Zealand as well. So, plenty of opportunities are there. You have to keep working towards it. and stay focused, stay motivated. Don't wait for the program to get over to find a job for yourself, because once you get into that mode of finding a job after the program completion, you won't even realize there is another batch, another cohort of the same program graduating. So it will just add on to the existing competition. So don't do that. Be an early riser. The way you are right now attending such sessions to know more about your future options. Similarly, stay equally aware and equally passionate about looking for job options even while pursuing your undergraduate degree, because that's how you will be able to have much better clarity about what all the world is offering. And the pace at which the world is moving, it's all the more important that you stay updated. For example, if this is some, for example, if you're targeting about, say, something in the science domain. So, for example, a food science is a typically very strong career option in New Zealand. It has excellent career prospects. I'm not saying that you have to go for it, but just in case, if food science is something that you're targeting, just stay updated and keep reading about what's happening in this space, so that when you appear for some interviews, you will be in a better position to answer those questions, and you will be familiar about the trends that are taking place in this particular industry. So customize this for your industry as well, and you will be able to shine in whatever you are doing.
Thank you so much for that, Nisha. And I have received two more questions. One I'll ask right away because I think it is related to your response as well. So this is from Mehek. She's saying, I'm a grade 11 student. I would want to understand that which industry slash industries are thriving in New Zealand and easy to enter from job perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, job perspective.
So let me please correct this one. Nothing comes easy. So you have to make sure that you're working hard for it. As far as industries are concerned, so there are, okay, Immigration New Zealand has set up a document wherein they have highlighted certain occupations under the green list. So if you get into those kind of occupations, it could be a rather easier a pathway for you to progress further and settle well in the country as well. If I talk about some specific industries, typically, so I would say IT, I think it's flourishing everywhere. So even in New Zealand, IT does really, really well. Computer science, engineering, civil engineering, construction, and a lot of options under medicine as well. Business analytics, data science, entrepreneurship, global studies, food sciences are just highlighted in my previous response as well. So there are a lot of options available, but always remember, go with where your passion lies. Don't pick up your career choice with a motivation, okay, what's in demand, because you have to be good at what you are going to do for the rest of your life. So don't pick up a profession that you do not enjoy. If we do not have fun with what we are doing for the entire day, for the next 365 days of a year, you won't be motivated enough, you won't feel passionate about it. So yes, it's good to know what's in demand, but pick up a profession for which you have a zeal, you have a desire to excel. And if at all it aligns well with what is in demand, it's a cherry on the cake. It's the best combination, I would say. But pick up your passion, your profession very, very carefully.
Words of wisdom, and I totally agree with that. You have to be little long term there when you especially think of courses, definitely like medium to long term. So yeah, words of wisdom there. So Nisha, I'll take Tamanna's question as well. It is not something which is kind of totally related to undergrad per se, but she has written that I have one concern that New Zealand offers 3 years degree and I want to do my master's in US. Will that be a problem?
Okay, so New Zealand not only offers 3 years degrees. So if you, I mean, after this session, I would recommend have a look at the University of Auckland websites. Our undergraduate programs are available for 4 years as well. So, for example, we have BSc, but we also have BSc Advanced Science Honors. So, you just have to add on one additional year. Our engineering programs are 4 years. I understand business could be a 1 year program, but we do have 4 year options also. And as far as your question is concerned regarding will that be acceptable? So, please correct me if I'm wrong, Surbi, but as much as I understand, a lot of universities in US are now accepting 3 year undergrad degree as well. Am I correct?
You're
I wouldn't
right.
say all, but a
Yeah.
few of them, yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. And just to throw some light on which could be accepted, which could not be accepted, it's entirely what kind of credits you are earning, right? So if it is earned within the length of 3 years as such, then you are eligible for the master's there. If not, then you may not be. So there is an entire, and without getting into too much technical details, there is an entire evaluation system which can help you understand whether your 3 years degree is something which will be accepted by US university or not.
So we do have 4 year programs as well. So I can't remember the student's name. Is it Tamanna? So
Yes, Tamanna.
yeah, so Tamanna, please have a look at our website as well. I'm not sure about what your area of interest is, but we do have 4 year programs also. Moreover, we also have conjoint degree options. So, for example, if you have a simultaneous interest in business or maybe economics or something to do with science as well, so you can pursue two different degrees simultaneously, or also you can pick up two different specializations or two different majors within the same field simultaneously. So that's
Mm.
also an option. So there's plenty that is being offered, but we just have to read well and understand well what's available for us to pick up.
Great. Thank you so much. I received one more. This is on financial aid. So Ridhima is asking, do you offer financial aid?
Okay, yeah, we just spoke about scholarship options, so that's all what we have on offer. Nothing apart from that.
Okay. Okay. I hope you guys got answers to your question. And if you have a follow-up one, as I mentioned earlier, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Tamanna says thank you. Okay. So I don't see any other questions in the queue as of now, Nisha. So I'll continue with mine. And I know we are drawing towards the closure of our session as well. So now we have spoken about admission process, the intakes, the student life, even life after you graduate, right? Now, because this is admission cycle, and I know when students apply to multiple destinations, even I have experienced some kind of mistakes which they make. So, what do you have experienced, and even what you have heard from your admissions team? What are the common mistakes which you have seen in the application filing from Indian students, particularly?
Okay, I would say Surbi students are quite well informed these days. They know what they're doing. Nevertheless, I would still recommend to please check your eligibility criteria on our website before making an application. Various programs have different set of requirements, and it is better to complete all of it within the stipulated time frame. It will help you avoid the delay in application outcome, because the usual delay that we have observed, it is only when either when students apply late or when they forget to upload some of the documentation that is being required as a part of the application checklist. So make sure that
Mhm.
you upload all the documents and do it within the required time frame. And please, when you have applied to any XYZ university, do keep checking your emails regularly.
Yeah.
Lot of universities do send multiple emails to students about some or the other information or update that they have to share regarding their application. Sometimes it happens not because of the students, but it lands up in their junk or spam folder. So do check that. This could be one of the reasons that application gets delayed. So I mean the processing gets delayed. So be very active with your mailbox. That's also very important.
Absolutely. Very well highlighted, and to an extent, what I have advised to my current cohort is to actually create a separate email ID for applications, because their existing one, because of all different communication, it gets overwhelmed, right? So that's a very important point, and regularly keep checking it. So true, very well said. Now, one question which I missed out asking earlier, but I think that's an important one, Nisha, which is around the visa processing time. So, uh, typically, how much time does it take, and how much in advance the student should kickstart the process? I believe once the conditional offer is given, once they have their, final grades and have an unconditional, then they can apply for visa. Can you throw some light on that?
Yes, absolutely, that's correct. In order to apply for the visa, you need a confirmed offer of place from the university. And since this is specifically an immigration matter, and Immigration New Zealand has provided a detailed checklist which the applicants should duly follow. In terms of timeline, INZ usually recommends to apply for the student visa about 3 months before the class commencement, which
Okay.
also resonates well with what we have been saying so far, that apply in advance for the application
Hmm.
as well, so that you have everything in time and you can proceed with the visa application. As far as some of the important documents are concerned, so the immigration wants to look at your sponsor's financial capability, their
Hmm.
ITR, medical documents, as well as the police verification certificate along with the cover letter. So it's a quite a long list. Better to have a look at the checklist on the Immigration New Zealand website. This is just for your basic understanding, I would say.
Great. Thank you so much for touching upon that. Yeah. And visa is a very, very important step. I would say the mindset which you have uh, in place is it's not done until it's done, right? Because I have experienced that as soon as the student they start getting an offer, and once their marks are released and it's a confirmed offer, everything which follows after that, and I understand, given they are done with their 12th, which is as is like a stressful period, they get slightly relaxed, and we end up pushing them and making them understand that this is a critical process. It's not, it doesn't mean that you are there and you are in the university till you have the visa in hand. And I think that's also ties up with the accommodation bit, though for I think University of Auckland they don't have to worry, but in general for all the destinations, even securing your accommodation is also an important step, right? So having visa in hand on time is something which you should pay attention to. Don't sit and relax till the time you have visa. After that you
Absolutely.
can.
Time is of real essence, Surbi, I would say.
True, true. Now, I know we have like just another minute or so left. Maybe any last piece of advice from your end, Nisha, which you would like to share with the
Or I
students who
would
are
just
thinking of applying this year itself?
Absolutely. So I would say, which I tell this to, I mean, this advice or this suggestion or maybe this learning is very close to me as an individual. So I believe, I feel rather that choosing the right university is the start of a life changing journey. However, it
Hmm.
is equally crucial that prospective students should do their due research. We should never shortlist a program on the basis of fancy degree names,
Hmm.
although they may have their own reasons to go with a particular university, and it's absolutely normal. It is still important to give valuable consideration to the curriculum as well. Students should look at the modules very, very carefully, and if at all it aligns well with their career aspirations, just go for it. And nobody knows you better than you know yourself, as I just mentioned at the start of the session as well. Let's not forget that these 3 4 years of your undergraduate years are just like laying a foundation for your career. So whatever you will study now will decide the next 30 40 years of your professional journey. Therefore, this has to be done in the most optimum and the most smart manner, I would say. So, all the very best to all the students who are looking for their options, be it India or overseas. Just do your research well, and I'm sure all of you will eventually get what you really aspire to achieve. So, my best wishes to all of you.
Thank you so much, Nisha. Wonderful advice. And I think with this session, I am confident that the students are much more aware around how to go about the application process. And as I see that there are few parents as well in this session, they also got the assurance that it's a simple process that they can apply and go ahead with, keeping in mind all the tips and advice which has been shared. And of course, if you need any help, we are there to provide you with the hand holding. You can reach out to Nisha as well to ask any questions. With that, I would like to close the session and thank you to each of you who have joined us today. And thank you, Nisha, as well, for sparing 1 hour with us and providing all the relevant details. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Surbi, for giving me an opportunity wherein I could meet your prospective students and even the parent community. It's my pleasure to share my learning with all of you. Do your research well. That's again what I would recommend. The entire world is an excellent platform for all of us to explore. So please explore well.
Thank
All
you
the
so
very
much.
best.
Thank you. And one announcement which I would want to make, because I again see like there are quite a few students and parents who have been like our regular attendees. So today is kind of our last session for 2024. So both the career awareness series and admission insights series, we are pausing for a couple of months, which is what we do every year, because this is now a busy time in terms of your exams and boards, and we totally understand that. And I know even for this session, from some of the folks, I got a request that if it could be done later, but then it would have been pretty late as such, especially like I know grade 11 students requested that, but they can really watch the recording too. But we will resume back with the career awareness sessions and admission insight sessions sometime in early April. And you can really follow us on Insta, subscribe on our YouTube and other channels. You will get to hear about the upcoming sessions as well. So, with that, thank you so much. Best wishes for your exams and have a good rest of your weekend as well. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Happy New Year to all of you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, happy holidays. Happy New Year. Bye bye.